All right, so we are here with Summer Pommier for our first Motivation Monday of the year. We started Motivation Monday last year before school unfortunately got closed due to COVID. So before we were bringing volunteers into the school to speak with students and just give them a little bit of extra motivation to kind of get through that last week or so of the quarter, hopefully push them through and they can have their best week to get through the quarter. So since our quarter is about to end, we are going to talk to Mrs. Pommier, and she's going to tell us a little bit about what it is like to be a woman in the workplace. So Summer, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and just give us kind of, well, one, your job title, and because I can never remember what it is, and then just a description of your job, then we will just jump right in and have you answer some questions.
All right. Well, good morning. My name is Summer Pommier, and I am the Manager of Quality and Operational Excellence, which just is continuous improvement at Common Aerostructures. So we make and build titanium, mainly titanium aircraft parts. So a lot of ours you'll see on planes, if you ever get back on a plane.
Yeah.
We all do. But yeah, so I handle the quality operations and continuous improvement for the organization at Common.
Awesome. Sounds very important, especially if there are parts going on an airplane that we would like for them to work, right?
Yes, we'd like to keep those in the air.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so what was your first job? And tell me like a favorite memory or just a story that maybe happened earlier on in your career.
So my very first job, I grew up on a farm. So we were farm kids working, mowing hay, baling.
I can relate.
That's where you learn the work ethic.
Yes.
As I transitioned into actually career, my first job was with SPX Cooling Technologies in Kansas City. And I was a materials engineer. So my background is in plastics. And that was probably the funnest job that I've ever had, in that I did destructive testing. That's what I was in charge of. So I got to destroy stuff all day long.
That sounds awesome.
Break things, burn things, which is my favorite. I'm a little bit of a pyro. And so, yeah, it was great to get to be able to do those things and have fun at it. And that was really my first career job, I would say, in the industry. And it was a lot of fun. I learned a ton just about being in business and being in manufacturing, but it was a lot of fun.
That sounds like a really fun job. What educational background or professional training did you have to have before you started your first job? And then if there was any like on the job training or anything?
Yeah, so when I started my first job, it was a very interesting time, and I graduated in December of 2001. My degrees were in plastics, and for most people take my husband's classes, they will know that 2001 was the World Trade Center bombing. So in December, of that year, the economy was in turmoil, and there really weren't, especially the oil industry. And so for plastics, there weren't a lot of jobs. And so we actually moved to Kansas City, and I got a job just working in the CAD department with SPX. And then about 3 months after that, the job opened up in materials science. And so I could go in and that's where I got to do the fun things with, destructive testing and breaking things. But from a standpoint of, education, I had my bachelor's degree and had gotten my master's degree in plastics. So that helped a lot, but a lot of technical writing and a lot of math and science. My job there was to really determine if materials going into the products were correct and would they hold up through that. So it also helped being somewhat of a farm kid and getting to break stuff. Yes. to jump in and handle things like that. But a lot of the training was on the job. But also a lot of my lab work within my classes helped as well.
That's awesome. So what do you think the most challenging part of getting where you are today would be?
Ooh, I think the most challenging part is probably just the day to day. And I know we talk a lot about work-life balance, but you really have to have that. And being able to make choices, and having the support, I would say, to be able to make those choices. You know, a lot of people don't have the support to go out on a limb, just with either moving, or even just having the confidence to really take a look at a job and say, this is what I want, or this isn't what I want. And taking, what you need from that, and being able to have the confidence to say, I'm going to move forward with my career, or I'm going to stay here. And this is what I need to do, for my family, or for those around me, or for me, at that time.
Yeah, that's great. Confidence is such a big part in being an adult, even when we don't know if we're messing everything up or helping.
And it is, and I don't think people realize that, but I will say that you have to have that support system, and it's so important, whether it's through friends, through family, through your spouse, whatever that is. But I can definitely say that Mr. Pommier is probably my biggest cheerleader, and he believes it. I
I think
believe it.
anybody that works with Mr. Pommier knows he's your biggest cheerleader. I barely even know you, and I look up to you so much just from what you told me.
Well, I am very short, so you would not be looking up.
You'd be looking up to me, huh?
That's right. That's right.
Okay. Well, how do you, besides the support of Mr. Pommier, which is obviously very important, how do you balance your job with your family life or your hobbies or any other interests that you guys have? You have two daughters, and a dog, I believe. So how do
Yes, and a bird.
yeah, how do you balance all of that?
It takes a lot of patience, and a lot of teamwork, to get through that. So, we've had a lot of ups and downs with health, and with our kids' health. When Sophia was born, she has Down syndrome, and we really didn't know what health problems we might face when she was born. So, but tackling it as a team, and like I kind of said in my earlier comments, sometimes you have to make the adjustments based upon what's going on in your life. And we were very lucky in that, at the times my career required a lot of time. Mr. Pommier had the ability to be home more, be closer to home, than I was. So it is a daily challenge. Sometimes it's by the hour.
Yes.
Especially now in times like these. I have employees and myself as well, of the school calls, and their child has a fever in the morning, and it's like, oh my gosh, there goes my day. What am I supposed to do? And so it's just learning to stay calm, have patience, but ask for help when you need it as well.
Yes. And I think another part of that, especially now with just, you talking about your employees maybe having to leave if their kid has a fever or whatever, showing each other some grace is something that we talk a lot
Yes.
about. We can't control everything, and those things that we can't control, we just have to be patient and show some grace with. I'm learning
Yes,
that very
definitely.
quickly for myself. Well, is there anything that you wish that you had done differently with your career? Or are there any other job or opportunities or careers that you wish you would have gone after, or that you thought maybe you would go after and you didn't end up?
Um, that one is a tough one. I don't think that there's anything that I regret, but my career has definitely not taken the path that I thought it would. When I went to school, all through college, I was going to be a plastics, an injection molding tool designer. That's what I wanted to do, was design tooling for injection molding. So that was what I wanted to be. And I did that during my internship for 3 months, and I've never done it again.
Did you end up not liking it, or was it just the direction that you went?
It was just the direction that my career has taken. So I've been very, very lucky and I always try and make sure that, if I'm in a situation that I look at everything that's there and try and learn everything that I can. So my background was actually in plastics, and I haven't worked in plastics in probably 16 years, just because of how my career went and the opportunities that I did have. So my job at SPX, I did work in plastics. I worked in materials, engineering and science. And then I got a job working in R&D, and I did work in plastics there as well. However, the company there had a very extensive Six Sigma program. And so I started getting into Six Sigma and kind of began my continuous improvement journey from there. Lean, continuous improvement, Six Sigma are things that you kind of hear all together. And it's really in the industry across manufacturing, it's across most organizations. So, I took that opportunity. I'll tell you a funny story. So with Mr. Pommier, I took the opportunity and I learned a lot. And actually SPX had an opening that came up in continuous improvement after I'd gone through the training. And I was contemplating it, but it was a big move and a big change. It was going to be a big change for us. And so we were talking about it, and that confidence that comes in the support that you get. So we were talking about continuous improvement and what that means. And Mr. Pommier just told me, and he said, well, this sounds like the perfect job for you. You get to be nosy, you get to be bossy, you get to interrogate people, and then you get to tell them what to do to fix their issue. And, once he laid it all out like that, I had to agree that's what I enjoy and I like. So that one was really my first left turn in industry. You're doing something completely different that I didn't know that I wanted to do. But since then, I never wanted to work in quality. That was when I was going to school. That was nothing I ever wanted to do, but I really enjoy it. And, I think it depends a lot on the company that you're with, your peers, and the support that they can give you. I'm one that I've got enough experience now in different things that I can kind of fill gaps, as needed. So when I started with Ducommon, I was just working in continuous improvement. And then there was an opening in quality. And so I, was able to take that also and take that on. But, for me, it's just always keep your eyes open and think, because you never know where you're going to end up. And just, if something interests you, take that chance and take that leap.
Yes, I love that advice. And you kind of just touched on it, but what advice would you give to a young person?
I think the few things that I have learned is find that support system. It will help you out in the long run to have that confidence, and whether it's a friend, somebody, a mentor within business, or family support, but finding that confidence within yourself is really huge. And then not being afraid to take chances, finding a company and people that fit you is really important as well, because I've had some really great mentors through my work that if they hadn't put their trust in me, I wouldn't be where I am now, because they really helped to grow and trust and give me that confidence and the ability to go chase something that really wasn't in my job description, at the time to do.
Yes, love it. Okay, last question. What challenges have you faced being one of the few women in a male-dominated industry?
So there's, it is difficult in manufacturing. A lot of people, and I will say people in general, because it doesn't necessarily it's not always the males, but just people in general that don't believe in you or don't take you seriously in that. And I would just say that, take your time, and time will prove them wrong. And don't be afraid ever to speak your mind or speak up. And if you are afraid to do that, you're probably not in the right place.
I love that so much. I think it's so important for our women to have strong role models. And so I really, really appreciate you. That's actually how this came about. Mr. Pommier came to me and made the suggestion because we are always talking about how we're going to help our high schoolers just become strong people in general. But I think with him being the only male in the household, he is aware that he wants to raise strong girls, and he has a strong wife.
Yes.
And so that, you know, I have a daughter as well, so we kind of compare those stories, but this was all his idea, so I have to give him credit for that. So you will have to give him a pat on the back. I definitely appreciate that from him, recognizing that. I know that's not always easy for everyone, but thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. And okay, I do have one last question. I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this. Can you tell us something about Mr. Pommier that we don't know?
Oh,
Put you on the spot.
I know. I don't know. He's pretty open with most things.
He
So
is.
something you don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I was going to say something about his guitar playing. You all know he's a huge baseball fan. I don't know. He's pretty open with everything. I would just say that I don't know. You know, I know, and to your comment, I know that you know he's very supportive. But just how great of a dad he really is, because he does. He takes the time with the girls, and helps to make them fearless. Now, I'm pretty fearless, but he, you know, he's such a great dad and just helps to make them feel like they can take on any tackle or tackle any obstacle that comes their way. And we've taught him over the years to be somewhat of a firebug along with us, because I'm a pyro. My girls.
That's great. I love that. That's another trait that you're passing on to them.
Yes.
I think that's part of living the farm life as well. I think it just
is.
We burned everything.
Absolutely. Yeah. I
guess go
Mr.
burn
Pommier does throw a pretty mean flaming hatchet.
Okay, didn't know that. There we go. Learn something new. All right, Summer. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end the recording. Thank you so much for talking with us today. We appreciate you a lot.
You're welcome. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.